Trial Tuesday once again. Summer is the best time to hit the beach, and many people are renting by owner through property management companies or websites like Airbnb. Attorney David Aylor, who, by the way, never takes vacations, always defending you, is here to walk us through the legal process of renting property or a property and what happens if there's an accident in one of those properties as well. Welcome to the show. You know, this is something that people really want to kind of get on the bandwagon. They want to rent out their place. They want to make a little extra money and all that. But there are some legalities that they really need to be aware of.
Yeah, absolutely. No matter if you're on the renter side and you're the actually person coming in, or you're actually the homeowner, because you have so many different things that can come into play. First of all, let's say it's your private home and you're renting it out through a service like Airbnb. You have to look to see what your homeowner's insurance looks like to see whether or not those accidents would be covered. Because again, you're bringing in people that are not the residents of the home. You're bringing in outside people. And then beyond that, if you're looking at it from the angle of somebody that has rented the beach house or the lake house or the mountain house, you know, what if something does happen? You know, particularly when you have some houses sometimes that are a little bit older, like on a lake or something, and they've not been really taken care of. People are just really making a little extra money off of them. Let's say a rail break, something, you know, falls, that sort of thing. Who's going to be responsible for it? And most importantly, as we talked about off air, how in fact are you going to go about documenting and showing that so that you can recover from it?
Because there are certain steps, and you don't want to leave out any of those steps. You want to be consciously aware, and if it's something that's really physically threatening, they'll need to get a hold of you, an attorney who can help them out. And because the liability in an insurance policy when you're living in a home and you have a friend or a family member come over and stay, that liability is different than if you're renting it out.
Right, exactly, because a lot of times that insurance coverage is not going to have it where you're renting it out. It has wanted guests, but when you're actually profiting from it, you look at it from a different angle, or the insurance company is for sure. So if you're someone that's actually a tenant of one of these type of places, you have to make sure that when you sign an agreement with them, you always want to make sure there's an agreement and that they have something within the agreement, of course, ensuring that all the property is well taken care of for that sort of thing to cover you. But if in fact you are injured or someone that you brought into the home as another you know, person that's renting it with you is injured, you've got to document it. You've got to include the medical treatment that you initially get. You don't want to have a rail break and you feel like you hurt your shoulder, but then hey, you still want to go out on the boat, so you don't do anything about it. And a week and a half later,
selfies on Facebook.
Right, exactly, still out there having on the grill, having a good time because you don't want to leave the people alone. However, in a week and a half, 2 weeks later, you go back. Next thing you know, you got a torn rotator cuff. That's probably going to be real difficult to go back to that house where that incident happened and try to put it back on them.
So let's just say someone does fall and breaks a leg. One of the best things to do is to have someone start that documentation. I broke my leg 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon. I tripped over something and fell into the pool. I was taken to emergency situation, emergency room or whatever, saw doctors, and have this documented. Also have the hospital bills and so forth that you can seek compensation possibly if that's there.
And you always want to make sure, whether it be a property manager and not the actual owners of the home or the residents, whether you contact them or you contact the actual homeowner, that you make them aware of it almost immediately. Obviously you have to take care of yourself or your loved one that's been injured, but you don't want to try to talk to them about it at the end of the week when you're settling up with the key, because the big thing there is exposure to other situations that could have had the accident occur, meaning you were out somewhere on the boat. You know, if you're out in the middle of the water on the boat and something happens there, that has nothing to do with the home that you're renting. So you really want to specify where it is, because too many times you see injuries that look small or maybe just ignored altogether at the beginning. Down the line, people will call our office and say, hey, you know, turned out this is what happened to my knee when the staircase broke at the deck that we were on. Well, it's probably going to be too late at that point to try to go back and recover against that homeowner.
Yeah, and it can be as simple as a scratch or a cut that gets infected and the person doesn't take care of it.
Exactly.
Always a pleasure. David Aylor, appreciate it.
Thanks for having me as always.
Trial Tuesday. Yes, sir. Give this guy a call. Does so much for the local area. We appreciate you being here with us today. We've got more coming up right after the break. Stay with us.